I'm Jeremiah McKinnon, and this is NEC News Today. Here now are the top cannabis news stories from around New England for February 17th, 2023. A controversial bill introduced by 6 Rhode Island state senators that tried to establish penalties for group cannabis use has now been withdrawn. The bill would have prohibited a person from hosting an event or gathering of 2 or more where controlled substances, including cannabis, are consumed. Violators would be subject to fines. A $500 fine would be levied for a first offense, $750 for a second offense, and a $1,000 fine for any subsequent violation. It's not immediately clear why these 6 state senators wish to limit the social use of legal cannabis in such a restrictive manner. The cannabis dispensary Western Front in Chelsea, Massachusetts will be hosting a comedy night at their dispensary later this month. On February 24th, Western Front is hosting Comedy Night featuring Jason Cordova, Peter Martin, Jay Smitty, and Caitlin McPhee. The doors open at 6:30 p.m. at 121 Webster Avenue. The event will be hosted by Michael Christmas and is scheduled to start at 7 p.m. and last until 9 p.m. The event is for adults 21 years and older. Tickets are $10 each. This week, NEC News Today wanted to continue highlighting Black-owned cannabis products to celebrate Black History Month. I've also been on a health kick lately, so I decided to pick up the strawberry lemonade-flavored energy shot from Shakti Green Lid. These energy shots contain cannabis, caffeine, natural herbs, and organic cane sugar. It definitely gave me energy and impacted my day in a positive way. For the full review, including photos, please visit necnewstoday.com. This episode of NEC News Today is brought to you by CBD Please, the first CBD store east of the Mississippi, and your local resource for reasonably priced, lab-tested cannabis extracts. CBD Please was founded in 2014 by Bill Downing, who's been a leader in Massachusetts cannabis law reform since 1990. CBD Please offers everything from premium quality organic hemp buds to extracts, tinctures, and many other cannabinoids. Visit cbdplease.com for more information. A committee at the New Hampshire State House took action this week and voted to make drastic changes to a bill that would legalize marijuana. According to reporting from Marijuana Moment, the committee voted 17 in favor and 3 opposed to make a series of changes and pass the bill in its new form. The new draft does not allow for home cultivation of cannabis. It eliminates the Cannabis Advisory Board and places the authority to regulate the industry with the State Liquor Commission. A new provision was added that will require independent testing labs to test cannabis prior to sale. The updated bill contains language that could be considered more palatable to a greater number of lawmakers and therefore have a greater chance of becoming law. In Massachusetts, lawmakers have been given their committee assignments, and we have the names of those who were appointed to the Joint Committee on Cannabis Policy. While other states have already held hearings on bills that deal with marijuana, Massachusetts is just now deciding which lawmakers will serve on the Joint Committee of Cannabis Policy. On Wednesday afternoon, it was announced that Senator Adam Gomez was chosen as the Senate chair, with Senator Robin Kennedy serving as vice chair. Senators Eldridge, Moran, and Payano were also named to the committee. The House released its list the next day. Those assigned to the Cannabis Committee include Representative Daniel Donahue, who was chosen to lead as the House chair for a second session, and Representative Bob Consalvo, who will serve as vice chair. A long list of other representatives were also chosen to serve on the committee. Connecticut's Attorney General has sued 5 retailers for selling delta-8. Connecticut's Attorney General has announced that his office is cracking down on the sale of delta-8 THC at stores across the state. Attorney General Tong sent out a letter to inform vape shops and other retailers that selling delta-8 THC without the proper license is a violation of Connecticut law. In a photo attached to the letter, a number of delta-8 THC products obtained by the Attorney General's office are shown, with many in packaging that resembles candy, such as Lifesavers, Skittles, and Airheads. The 5 businesses that are being sued for selling delta-8 products were among those selling the imitation products. This announcement came days before news broke that a letter from Dr. Terrence Booz at the Drug Enforcement Administration was published. The letter clarified that delta-9 THCO and delta-8 THCO are classified as Schedule I controlled substances and do not fall under the definition of hemp. Also in Connecticut, access to medical marijuana continues to be an issue for many patients since the launch of adult-use cannabis sales. Medical marijuana supply issues continue to plague patients in Connecticut ever since the launch of adult-use cannabis sales, a disappointment to those who rely on cannabis to treat their symptoms. WFSB and NBC Connecticut both ran stories in the past few days highlighting the growing number of patients that are having difficulty finding the products and strains they need. According to reporting from WFSB, Fine Fettle, with locations in Newington, Stamford, and Willimantic, has acknowledged that medical menus have shrunk at their locations. The company is asking producers and the Department of Consumer Protection to ramp up production to meet demand. Other facilities, such as CT Pharma, claim that they're not facing any disruption. Patients that went on camera did share their frustration being unable to obtain certain products or strains in the recent weeks. The Department of Consumer Protection won't say that there's an official shortage, but is continuing to monitor the supply of cannabis products, according to a statement. Recreational purchases of cannabis are currently limited to 7 grams or its equivalent per transaction in Connecticut. Last but not least, this week in Vermont, the owner of a home-based cannabis business says he's leaving town and bringing his business with him after facing unrelenting complaints from neighbors. Tyler Maynard, the owner of Green River Cannabis, is getting ready to leave the town of Hyde Park, Vermont, for good, after disputes with his neighbors have become too much to handle. The Green River Cannabis facility is located on the same site as Maynard's home. The company has a Tier 1 indoor cultivation license from the Vermont Cannabis Control Board. Local officials didn't object to the business, but Maynard's neighbors repeatedly complained about the smell of cannabis and questioned whether the company had started growing plants before receiving approval. The Cannabis Control Board did investigate and issued a $5,000 fine to the company for having issues with reporting their inventory and having a fungicide on site. Maynard has since put his property up for sale, according to reporting from News and Citizen. Maynard said that he will move elsewhere and take his cannabis business with him due to the ongoing disputes. For the absolute latest New England Cannabis News, head on over to necnewstoday.com and follow us on all your favorite social media platforms. If you're enjoying the show, be sure to like this video. Subscribe to NEC News Today for more great content and hit the bell icon so you never miss an episode of the show. For New England Cannabis News Today, this is Jeremiah McKinnon, reminding you to always use cannabis responsibly and to enjoy your cannabis-filled adventures throughout New England.